Greetings, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I have drifted into the underworld. The Star Wars Underworld. I have a bad feeling about this.
Here we go. We must go to the lower levels. The underworld.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
You're after something.
Ben.
Since I've started the underworld, I've met so many great friends.
Chris.
I grew up in the 1990s, and mall packaging is nostalgic for me.
Dominic.
What I love most about Star Wars is that it's fun and it's all around good times.
So, this is where the fun begins.
May the Force be with us.
This thing really moves!
Whoa! I like this!
I can't believe you came all this way to see me.
Why am I not in the intro? I gotta come up with a snappy line.
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Underworld Podcast, your weekly source for all the latest breaking Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. My name is Dominic Jones. Yes, I'm still on the show. And joining me, as always, is the founder of the Star Wars Underworld, Ben Hart, the Star Wars guy.
Glad to confirm that you're still alive, Dom, and you're still with us. And you're back for this momentous, you missed the great trailer wars. You missed it. You missed the great battle in the fandom over the things. Now everyone is at peace now because we have a trailer to talk about. Yes, we are all zen. We are all very happy. There is peace in the fandom once more because they finally gave us a trailer. So we're going to talk about that tonight.
Is there peace, Ben? Is there really?
For the moment, for this particular moment. Tomorrow, who knows? Tomorrow, who knows?
I will say last week, leading into it, like before the Super Bowl, before that the spot aired, I was feeling like because we knew that something was coming, we knew it was gonna happen, and I was like, I am a little sad. Trailer shows are my favorite. I'm gonna miss them. I'm gonna miss this one. That's too bad. And then I saw the thing. I saw the TV spot, and I didn't watch the first half of the Super Bowl, so I didn't see it happen live. I just saw that it was available online, so I pulled it up online and I watched it, and I had that moment of, whoa, that's not what I was expecting. And then I just started laughing because it was so funny. I thought it was genuinely a funny thing that they did. And then I started laughing even more because I thought, I bet people are freaking the F out about this right now. And so my next instinct was to open Twitter, which I try to avoid doing, although I generally fail at that. And just start refreshing and seeing the reaction pour in and the overreaction to what was essentially a silly little thing that happened. And then a week later, here we are. And they're actually here for the real trailer. And the real trailer is incredible. It's amazing. It's so good. That's obviously what we're going to spend the bulk of our time talking about, is the fact that they've given us a real exciting trailer to talk about for the Mandalorian and Grogu. It's going to be a great show. Also with us this week, making a triumphant return to the show, we've got a friend from F105 Music. We got Din. Din, you're here to talk about Din. Isn't that great?
Yeah, some Din on Din. Yeah, actually, well, that I thought we were going to be discussing The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, episode 5.
Look, if you want to talk about that, I'm sure I could dig up the watch.
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go watch it.
Theme, and we could bring back that podcast.
That was awesome. That was next level.
It was. It really, really was. I need to get Ira Parker on Star Wars. He seems to know what he's doing with these big epic franchises. I was gonna ask about the Super Bowl trailer, the Super Bowl teaser some more, but I feel like you guys covered it a lot last week, so I won't make everybody relive it.
I know I have personally talked way too much. There was a point last week I was just like, stop talking about it, stop tweeting about it, just step away from the phone and just stop.
It's 4:30. It's 4:30 in the morning, and Ben's just shaking. He's like, I gotta make another post.
I honestly feel like the whole debacle with that trailer is the reason the world is in peril.
Well, it doesn't.
I'm sorry, but I mean,
if you can't appreciate bonbons,
you're given no one has a sense of humor or a sense of fun anymore, and everything is a problem. Can you worry about something that needs to be worried about, Please.
Well,
I could have like
the fact is, and like this is no joke. This is no joke. Like the reason like people get bent out of shape about dumb things, particularly on the internet, is because the world is on fire. Because everything is bad, and we're all stressed out about everything. So it's just like, you know, the simple thing. I just want to sit down and watch a Star Wars trailer. Oh, there's tauntauns! Ah, rip my hair out.
Look,
you know.
Look, if you can't appreciate a good tauntaun, what are we doing here? We've lost the plot if we cannot appreciate a tauntaun.
4 good tauntauns. I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it also I think it's. I'm really actually very confused about the whole thing, because I don't understand what people need. Like, I just don't. I think people just need more or something, because that was a great teaser. Like, that truly got me excited about wanting to see an actual trailer, which was love, and it was.
And then we got it
to get like that. That trailer was enough to get the entire world, who are not Star Wars maniacs like we are, excited about going out to see the movie. That's all you want.
Yeah. That you showed them something that's kind of funny. It hits on a few familiar beats, but also in a way that you maybe weren't expecting. It wasn't just another bwah, bwah, bwah. Here's another pile of special effects. It's like, here's something that's kind of silly and unique, and that'll get you thinking about the fact this movie is going to be here before we know it. But we will dive into the trailer proper in just a moment. As always, want to remind you, punch the subscribe button so that way you never miss an episode of the show. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, however you listen to your show. And if you like what we're doing here, you can become a channel member. That's a way to put something in the tip jar if you enjoy the show. And you can also super chat with us during the show. I'll guarantee that you will be part of our Ask the SWU segment, which we will get to later on in the program, and join our Discord in between shows to keep the conversation going, and follow us on social media for more of those well thought out reactions from Ben to nuanced things like the Tauntaun trailer. And also check out the other shows on Star Wars Underworld Network, like the Raeside, Ion Cannon, Tales from Beyond the Galaxy, and the Tractor Beam. All right, so of course, Mandalorian and Grogu, the official trailer dropped. This is not a teaser trailer. This is a real trailer. What the distinction is, I'm still not entirely sure, but a lot happened in it. There's a lot to talk about. Normally, I'd ask Ben first, but he's stepped away right here just 8 minutes into the show. He couldn't take it already. Okay, he's back. He's back, and he's mad that I called him out.
I missed my chance.
Way to make your guests feel good. Like, normally we want the other guy to go first, but all we have is Din. Oh, good. Ben's back. Rest easy, everyone.
Yeah, rest easy.
Boy.
So, boy, now I feel like I'm between a rock and a hard place. Who do I throw it to?
I won't be offended.
All right, Din. Let's get.
I don't want to go first.
All right. You know what?
What are you doing?
You know what? I want to go first. So you both have lost.
So be it.
Lost your chance. No, Ben, start us off. What'd you think of the trailer?
Okay, so I loved it. It was like truly an amazing trailer. Like I think it gave you. I was telling someone this the other day. I was talking to Jeff White. We were talking about the trailer. I was like, it really gives you everything you could possibly want in a trailer. Gives you new looks at characters, new looks at stuffs, a lot of new environments. Oh, we got Din's got his helmet off again multiple times in the trailer. Crazy that you got that confirmed, and just like all this new stuff that we had heard about. If you pay attention to the rumors, maybe you knew certain characters may be showing up, and it's good to have this confirmed. And just a lot of really great action and comedy, and I think it gives a good breadth of like, okay, here's the movie. Here's what the movie actually is. I think that's what the first trailer, I liked it from the start, but I know a lot of people were kind of disappointed with that trailer. I think this one does a way better job of just like, okay, this is it. This is the movie. This is what we're looking at, without going into too much story details. too much into like, well, here's the plot. I think those trailers can get a little bit carried away with like trying to outline the entire thing. I think this is the perfect kind of trailer. Just like, it's a trailer. It's a teaser. It gives you a little bit of everything and gives you all the flavors of the movie and gives you something to look forward to. So yeah, very, very pleased with this one.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what you said. Din, what did you think?
I think it really felt like this is a Jon Favreau movie.
Mm-hmm.
I got that feeling like this is him doing what he does best, which is to start big things. It almost seems like this is the proper debut of the Mandalorian for Star Wars, which is strange given the fact that the show's had 3 seasons and it's created a maybe what I would argue is the second bona fide Star Wars global phenomenon. I think Grogu, like the first time it was a phenomenon was obviously A New Hope 77, and I think what happened with Grogu and the first season created the second global phenomenon where you're basically anywhere in the world and people are talking about Grogu. And that's I think at the start I was a little worried that Jon Favreau was going to always be a little too safe and nostalgic, and then where he went with season 3 and was not afraid to make some mistakes and take some creative bold moves that maybe didn't always work out. It showed me that I wanted that more than a perfect season of Mandalorian. Like the first 2 seasons are pretty perfect and the third one obviously isn't, but it's kind of my favorite after the first one because it shows me that he's willing to try new things. And I think the trailer mostly made me smile because I felt like it was, like you said, Ben, sort of a perfect trailer. Like you guys said, a perfect trailer that gives you everything you want to see. Mm-hmm. It doesn't just give you, it shows you action. It shows you heart. It shows you Pedro Pascal's face, which obviously now sort of seems probably like it was like, if you're going to make a movie, we're going to have to show Pedro Pascal, for audiences. It seems like that's why they made that move, but that's all right. And it showed a lot in terms of developing the future of Star Wars. Like it's Jon Favreau starting things, which is now like the mention that Grogu, he'll be gone centuries after Din is past. So it really feels like this movie is the proper start to the new era of Star Wars. And the reason why I'm excited about that is 2 things. One, we saw the IMAX trailer in laser IMAX 3D, which is the best format on the planet. And as far as pushing boundaries of how awesome the tech of film can be and kind of new experience it can give you. I was really concerned with the first trailer, the teaser, that it was going to be all nostalgia and AT-ATs and snow planets and desert planets and whatever. But see, I would not want to see an AT-AT and have a single warrior take down an AT-AT. Like that's just a riff on Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
But in laser IMAX 3D, it was like, oh, this is the reason to do it. If I can't see George Lucas's conversion, if he made it, of The Empire Strikes Back and what it's like to see an AT-AT in 3D, this was mind-blowing. Like I felt the AT-AT fall off the cliff. That's what that format should do. There should be no other reason to do a big screen like IMAX or 3D. They're both gimmicks. One's bigger, one pops in your face. I don't want to listen to anyone talk about one being art and the other one isn't. They're both gimmicks. Stereo sound is a gimmick. Color is a gimmick after black and white film. It's all a gimmick and a con.
The moving picture is a gimmick. I tell you, I only ever want to hear plays on the radio. I tell you,
it's all a gimmick. It's if you use it for what it can do, and what 3D can do is make you feel an object. And man, did they do it! And they spared no expense too, because with past conversions, you would see like not perfect 3D conversions or like the double lines and stuff like that. it looked like it was made to show off the format at its highest possible quality, which is what George would do, which is what Cameron does, you know, for Phil Jackson. And the other thing is, I think it showed that they're going to balance the old with the new. Like you said, Ben, there's a lot of new images in this trailer that show me new things too. And that's exciting. That's truly exciting. That's actually why I loved the trailer, the spot. Other than the fact that it had a sense of humor, it was actually beautifully shot. Like, it's showing me Tauntauns, and off the bat, I'm bored. I'm like, oh, really? And then the way they shot the Tauntauns was so artful and so joyful and so wondrous. Like, if we get to see that shot on a 4-story 3D IMAX screen, where you're really feeling the weight and the wonder of 4 Tauntauns galloping through a snowy desert, almost like a horse through a desert in a who is it, John Ford?
Yeah,
John Ford.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was long-winded, but I was really, there's more to talk about. I'll stop there. I loved it. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. You mentioned the 3D laser IMAX, all that. Like I've been looking forward to seeing Project Hail Mary, the new Phil Lord, Chris Miller movie, for a while, just because it looks like a good movie. But now I'm like doubly excited to see it because they shot a lot of that movie for IMAX, and so I have to imagine this trailer will play before that, and to get to see this trailer presented in that, you know, epic format, I think is going to be a lot of fun. And then the movie itself will be, you know, 2-3 months later.
Okay, I haven't heard of the movie, but let's go.
Absolutely. The trailer, here's my thought on the trailer, and I'm not going to mention the original teaser after this, but the original teaser, it was fine for what it was, but it didn't do a lot for me. It wasn't exciting for me. I watched it and went, okay, that's a bunch of stuff that is either something we've quite literally seen before, or is just a riff on what we've seen before. There isn't anything exciting about that. There isn't anything that's telling me you have to go see this movie because you're going to see something you haven't seen before. You're going to see an exciting adventure. It felt like we were stuck in just having like, oh, we're just going to do a weird little thing that hits the memeable points of The Mandalorian. And this trailer comes along and goes, no, we're promising you an epic, an exciting, a fun adventure in the Star Wars universe. It's going to show you new things. It's going to show you old things in new ways. And it's going to, at its core, is a story about these two characters that you already love. And we're going to do new and fun things with them. I like season 3 of Mandalorian, but it was a frustration for me that he kept the helmet on the whole time. It honestly felt like something was missing. And as soon as the helmet came off in this trailer, as soon as we saw Pedro's face, I was like, all right, they're not holding back anymore. They're not playing it safe anymore. They're going to give us a proper, or they're presenting us with an exciting, thrilling trailer that's going to, you know, advance things. It's going to hint at the ways that it's going to advance things. And that's what was needed. That's what I was looking for. That's what I wanted personally. And I feel like this trailer, you can show it to anybody and go, yeah, this is going to be exciting. This is going to be fun, whether you know who Embo is or not. You know, that's the beauty of a character like Embo. We can all sit here and go,
Zuvio.
We can all sit here and go, yes, Embo, he's the bounty hunter from the Clone Wars, and he snowboards with his hat, and he chases Anakin Skywalker and Rush Clovis down a mountain. Isn't that exciting? And then somebody who hasn't seen that can go, wow, that's a cool looking guy. That's a cool looking bounty hunter. I'm excited to learn more about him. And so it presented, it had something for everybody. I think it works on multiple levels, and it gives us a little flavor of what to expect in the movie in a way that the first teaser just don't really think that it did. Dan, I'm gonna throw it right back to you here. You've talked a lot about the sort of the technical the technical side of things and what Favreau is doing, what else stands out to you from the trailer? What else is something when you look at this thing, whether it's something fun or something or something technical or something story-wise, what is it that when you think of this trailer, what's the first or second thing that comes to mind? You've muted yourself.
Well, I'm having old man technical moments here. I'm trying to figure out how to see the chat. Instead, in my big window, I see us three in widescreen, like a laptop ratio, and I also see us right beside it, us in like a phone format, like a horizontal. Yeah. I just want to see the chat too, not two of each of us.
I think if on the very right, you're just going to do StreamYard tech support here for a minute. On the very right hand side of your screen, there should be a little thingy with an arrow that says show panel. I think if you click on that,
oh my god,
that should
in the StreamYard.
In the StreamYard,
yeah.
Join the chat.
Try that, yeah.
Okay, that's not our internal. Hey, Star Rap. Okay, there we go. All right, we're good.
You did it.
I'm unmuted. What's the question?
Just speaking of the chat.
Oh, right. What did I like? Okay, for the same reason, I like so I am always going to look at the world through the eyes of a child. That is my nature and my philosophy. Be like children, to quote a very famous book. I saw those tauntauns with eyes of a child's wonder, and just imagining what it's going to be like on the big screen. And I think little things like seeing Embo. You know what? I have to take a moment to complain. Please, Star Wars fans, give us a moment, for pity's sake, to watch the trailer. I just go on Facebook. I see everyone, Embo in the trailer. Like, let me be surprised about that in the trailer, please. Give me an hour. Give me an hour to watch the trailer. But people literally watched it as soon as it dropped, and were tweeting about, or doing whatever they do with their thumbs on platforms about Embo. So I didn't get to feel that surprise about seeing him in the trailer, which sucked. But what I did get was a surprise, like whoever that creature is that is training Grogu. That was how I felt as a kid. When I saw, say a trailer and seeing Yoda for the first time as a kid. It's just like the child in me just went, whoa, who is that? That's so like the joy I felt in the design, in the tone of the shot. I've heard Jon Favreau talk about the tone of films, and this has a Jon Favreau tone, which is also a very sort of classic Lucas tone or Jim Henson kind of tone. That you have some wonderful creature that just fills you with a sense of wonder and magic and fantasy. And again, I'm probably not going to stop talking about this, but I am so, I can't wait to see that on 3D laser IMAX. I just can't wait.
Ben, what else stood out to you? What's something that really grabbed your attention?
Oh gosh, I mean, Nal Hutta. I'll just say that, like the fact that I know they haven't actually confirmed it, but it is Nal Hutta. It is straight up it's crazy that we're getting a Jon Favreau movie, and there's so many Clone Wars references in this movie. So many things. It feels like Jon Favreau really is not only just a friend and a collaborator of Dave Filoni, he is a fan of Filoni's work. And it's just let's get this, let's get Roto the Hutt, let's get Nal Hutta and all this kind of stuff, and just throw it in, and Embo and all this kind of stuff. And because it's those ships that the Hutts used to they shot down Cad Bane and Moralo of all in that one episode of Clone Wars. They're being shot out of a cannon, and there's all these droids, and it's just this is amazing. It's amazing that we're seeing this, and also there's a lot of swampy nature. I don't know if that's Nal Hutta or something else, but just the visuals I think overall are really stunning. I think a lot of people, a lot of people were complaining about their first trailer, and I get where they're coming from, but a lot of the complaints were just like, well, it doesn't look any better than the movie. It doesn't look any better than the series, like the first 3 seasons. And I'm just like, well, that is a disadvantage because the fact is that like the first 3 seasons look like movies a lot of times. It's hard to really, up the ante in regard to the visuals because Mandalorian as a TV show was a great looking show. It had its drawbacks in a few episodes, but like for the most part, a stunning show. Something that's like it's hard to believe this we're actually watching this on a streaming service on our phone or on a TV versus a big screen. Like I think that was one of the things. It's like this just belongs on the big screen. The Marshall John Favreau's episode. It's like it's shot in IMAX. There's sequences that are in IMAX. It's an episode. It is truly cinematic. And that's what was like, okay, just wait. Just hold out for a second, wait. And I think this trailer kind of more delivered on was like these truly cinematic visuals that I think they are really trying to, like, as hard as that may be, actually bring the visuals up to another level that we haven't seen before in the series. So yeah, just overall, it looks stunning, but also really cool to see like different planets and lots of huts. Just huts. We're going to Nal Hutta. There's the twins and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of huts going on. And huts speaking basic. Everyone was surprised by that. But, it's happened before. If you watch the Clone Wars, you remember Zero the Hutt. He spoke English. So, not news.
Yeah, I'm really excited by the amount of like this does feel like the Underworld movie. We've had had the Rebel movie with Rogue One, and we've had lots of Jedi movies, and Solo is an Underworld movie in a lot of ways, and this feels like it's kind of a spiritual successor to that. Even having the Rio Durant alien guy who's the fry cook and is apparently voiced by Martin Scorsese.
That is official. That is amazing. I can't get over it.
Spectacular. Just Favreau brings in just the randomest bits of casting, and I love it. I love him for it. But it feels like a real Underworld movie. And the having the huts come back, that was something that it's been kind of like a slow burn on the return of the huts. They were kind of all over Clone Wars when that was on. There's obviously Jabba's a big feature in the original trilogy. They didn't play it. They didn't factor into the sequels. They didn't factor into the standalone movies. They were kind of off to the side, and it was only in Book of Boba Fett that they started to re-enter the fray. And we have the twins as an interesting set of characters. Also, Rada. Jeremy Allen White playing Rada the Hutt, who is now a gladiator, it seems. I mean, nobody has actually said that that's Rada in the gladiator pit. We've all just kind of assumed it. And I think that's a safe assumption, and it's a really interesting, exciting one at that. But the thing that I think that stands out to me most, you guys have both mentioned Grogu at times, and Din, you made the point that Grogu is... They have the line about how Grogu's going to outlive Din Djarin, how he's going to be around for a lot longer, and it feels like they're setting up the future. One of the few sort of dangling plot threads from Mando season 3, like season 3 wraps up that Mandalore story, and it wraps it up with a pretty nice bow, right down to the iris out at the end of Din and Grogu at their new home on Navarro. They tied up the series where that could serve as a series finale, and in a way it does. The series, quote unquote, is done. Now we're moving into the movie era for these characters. But one of the few things that is left unresolved from that is what becomes of Grogu. We from a Jedi perspective, that's been something that season 3 didn't grapple with too much. We got the flashbacks to Order 66, but ever since Grogu chose to leave Luke, it's been left unanswered as to, or it's been left kind of in the background as to what is he doing to further his Jedi training. And the part of the big reason that he left Luke is that he wanted to stick with his space dad. He wanted to stick with the Mandalorian. He wanted to learn that part of the galaxy and maintain that bond with Din Djarin. But they both know that Grogu will be alive for a lot longer. So maybe he should take a look at doing some Jedi things. And there's that shot of Grogu meditating on the log that was like, that's the most like Jedi shot I've ever seen of this character. And so I'm excited that the movie seems to be moving that storyline forward a little bit. It seems like we're going to not get answers, and I don't think we need answers about what Grogu's future holds. There's plenty of time for that later, but it does seem like they're going to address the fact that, he might need to do a little bit of Jedi training in addition to his Mandalorian training that we've seen him doing. Yeah, Ben's just pulled up the picture, the shot that I'm talking about here.
Gorgeous.
I love this shot.
Gorgeous,
it's just a great shot. Yeah, Ben, what do you think about where Grogu might be going from a Jedi perspective here?
Well, okay, it is interesting. I'll give credit to Alex Damon from Star Wars Explained, because he as he always does, managed to pull subtext out of things that I never think of. And just like he was watching the Super Bowl spot and is like, oh well, if you notice, Grogu uses the Force to take the reins of the sled from Din and gives it to himself. And perhaps this is a metaphor for Grogu kind of having more autonomy and taking kind of more control. And like Din talking about in this thing being like, yeah, he's gonna outlive me by quite a ways. Like, I'm not always gonna be around to protect this kid. And I am very interested to see like how do they handle this part of the character and like having him think. It seems to me, I dare say, maybe it's a spoiler to say, but like it seems that Grogu has his own little adventure off on his own in this movie. Like a part of this movie, we see, Din Djarin seemingly on Nal Hutta facing off against the Hutts and then the dragon snake and all that kind of stuff. And Grogu's not around. I'm assuming, maybe Grogu's coming to rescue him. Maybe Grogu's just off on, off. He did a little bit of that in season 3, but like, I think it'll be interesting to see like, okay, what is Grogu thinking? And like even the little small moment of Din and Colonel Ward having this conversation and Grogu's down on the ground and he salutes Colonel Ward. And I'm like, we've never seen Grogu do anything like that before, like that, like gesture and like have these moments that I can imagine, like nothing quite like that. So I'm curious, like he's really going to be more of a character, I think, even more so than ever in this movie. And I'm very curious how he fits into this. How is, I think, obviously, speaking of gimmicks, Grogu is kind of a gimmick. He's the reason my mom loves The Mandalorian, okay? I'm just going to be honest, okay? 100%. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think a lot of people are tuned into The Mandalorian because of Grogu. But I think not just like keep hammering that home or being like, oh, he's just got to be cute. He's just along for the ride. No, he's a character and he should have his own story and his own agency about him to, do it. And I hope really this movie could be a great vehicle for like, okay, he's off on his own journey. He will, at the end of this, be a different character. I think that's going to be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. They, as like I said, I've mixed feelings about season 3. I think there's a lot of good things to it. But there's other things where they missed the mark. And I haven't watched it since it was on, so forgive me if I'm misremembering. But one of the things felt like was Grogu was kind of just along for the ride with season 3. He after being kind of the center of the story for seasons 1 and 2. Season 3, he's along for the ride, and that's not necessarily a bad thing in theory. Bo-Katan was really the star of season 3, which again, not a bad thing. But it did sort of feel like he was off to the side, and that's why things like this moment with him meditating on the log, the mention of his future, having that little interaction with the creepy guy on the porch. And all the moments where we see him being active. The shot, like you mentioned, Ben, he's on that little speeder with the Anzellans at one point, maybe off on his own, doing his own thing. And there's the shot of him taking out the mouse droid where he is actively using the Force. He is that. And this terrific shot of him with a cane that's bigger than him. That is just like, now he looks like he's the mentor. Now he's gone full Gandalf on us. And I'm excited to see where this goes. Dan, any thoughts on Grogu? I know you said he is the Star Wars' second sort of genuine phenomenon. Any thoughts on what we see from him in this trailer, and maybe where he might be going in the movie and beyond?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's kind of, for me, there's a meta message in the trailer, which is like, he'll be around for a few centuries. Mm-hmm. And so will Star Wars if this movie can pull it off.
Yeah.
Because ever since they came up, Grogu was such a success, I've often thought to myself, well, the real trick that they have to pull off will be not to create another real life little green puppet that you believe in, which that was the trick in Empire Strikes Back. That was the impossible thing that could have failed and ruined the whole franchise, not just the movie.
Yeah.
But if they can pull off the trick of us being and by us, I mean the whole world that looks to Grogu as a phenomenon, my mom, all the kids and moms on the other side of the planet. If they can pull off the trick where you're invested in him as a real person, not as cute baby Yoda, but that you're going to go see, you're so invested in him as a real person and not a cute gimmick, that you're going to go see a movie of him in 5-10 years where he's a teenager or a young adult going through the hero's journey, like a Luke or an Anakin or an Ahsoka or an Ezra. Then they've pulled it off, and then Star Wars has a future.
Yeah,
because if you just keep relying on nostalgia, and sorry, it's not a podcast, Star Wars podcast that I'm on, unless I somehow am critical of the only Star Wars thing I've ever been critical of, the Rise of Skywalker. You can't just keep. Not to eat. Just in a bigger picture, like there's personal reasons I don't like it, but really you can't just throw 1 million Star Destroyers at the screen and expect Star Wars to have a future and people to go, yeah, Star Wars is awesome. You have to be invested in the characters. And if this is truly is the lowest budget Star Wars film, like even, with inflation or whatever at 166 million, that means one, their system is good. John Favreau knows what he's doing and knows how to save money. He's not wasting time figuring stuff out. He's not redoing stuff. They have Dave Filoni is now the president. They have an efficient machine going, with that training goes all the way back to Lucas.
Yeah.
And Lucas was efficient. That means if they pull this off, they have 100 years of storytelling with characters like Grogu that don't rely on the past. Yeah. And by the way, I was a little like, there's a lot that your question about subtext. So another very Lucas Star Warsy thing with this image here is visual metaphor. So he's
this is Grogu on the log for everybody listening. Sorry, continue.
So one, it's Buddha sitting at the tree of life, or Jesus, I am the tree and you are the branches. But it's also a bridge over, is it a river? So what it's telling me is with the other Star Wars thing that this movie is doing, and it is probably, Ben, you made me realize, oh my God, it's going to be structured like Empire. It's going to be the whole it rhymes thing.
Yeah.
It'll Din will be off doing his thing, and then Grogu will be training with this wonderful new creature, and then the moment will come. Do you go to try to help Din? And obviously he does, because unless those scenes are from the start of the movie. But the opportunity with postmodern art is when you take two or more classical icons from art history and you mix it with the third. So like Last Jedi does that by referencing Empire and then Rashomon and creating up with a new meaning in art. That's what postmodern art is. You have to have more than two historical examples, two or more, with your own thing to reinterpret meaning for the new time, to make it, it's a model to make art relevant for the moment. So I think there's a chance to say something relevant about Star Wars philosophy, which is usually channeled through the Jedi belief system. You know, what does this mean in contrast to what Luke's doing as a school? And is there going to be some kind of opening for a discussion? Because Star Wars is not discussion unless you're also philosophizing, you know, about, or quasi philosophy, you know, like armchair philosophy about what this means for the Force. So what does it mean? Like, is this teacher going to be offering a different philosophical point of view that Grogu can take in and contrast with what Luke was doing? Because obviously they're tied to what's happened in the sequels now, and what Luke did failed. So will this be a different approach to being a Jedi that might be better and healthier and more updated for the future of what the galaxy needs? Because we all thought Luke would do that, but then he fell into the same dogmatic trappings.
Yeah. I mean, that's the fascinating thing about the future of Star Wars is, in this era in particular, is we know that that the heroes that we want to believe in, we know that they essentially fail. That you know, if we didn't know about Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and the other one, then we would be assuming, well, at some point, you know, Grogu's going to learn you know, he's going to take this Mandalorian philosophy and he's going to merge it with Jedi philosophy, and he's going to go and he's going to present that to Luke, and Luke's going to go, aha, now we can make the Jedi even better. But we know that ultimately probably doesn't happen, or if it doesn't happen in the idealistic way that we would like it to, you know, just on like a sort of emotional level, putting aside, you know, what makes a good story. Now, but yeah, that leaves it open for something down the line. Dave Filoni, obviously very, very involved in the future, obviously very, very involved in the creation of Grogu as a character. Simon Kinberg is writing a new trilogy. Dave Filoni is overseeing that as the president of Lucasfilm. Dave Filoni created Grogu. Simon Kinberg is writing this movie that's set after episode 9. Daisy Ridley's already under contract to come back. Put the pieces together. We can have an interesting, very interesting conversation between Grogu and Rey someday, I'm sure. But it's building up something interesting there. And the thing about Jedi and Mandalorians is that they are historically enemies. You know, that's not something we've actually seen a whole heck of a lot of. We're told about it a lot in different media. Kanan has that great line of, you know, newsflash, the Jedi won the war, or history lesson, the Jedi won the war, when Sabine's trying to use her like tricky armor on him. There's the great line where the armorer talks about, you know, the enemy sorcerers known as Jedi, and things like that. We don't actually see that. But the idea of, you know, historic enemies learning from each other and coming together to make something better is kind of interesting. And we are now seeing 2 instances of that kind of running parallel to each other with Sabine and Grogu. And that feels like that something that is setting up, or not even necessarily setting up, but could be a framework and a strong foundation upon which to build going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I essentially am getting from this trailer is it feels profoundly and authentically Star Wars. Like, not going, you know, like I think what looks like a fun movie is actually going to have the seeds of all the stuff that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are fully aware of, were the real, I'm not saying real like as in, oh, this is real Star Wars and that's not, because I understand if you don't think that Last Jedi is real Star Wars and it's not your Luke, that's like a totally, I believe in free will, especially when it comes to art and in the way you think. Like art to me should be about freedom of thought. Like you could love Rise of Skywalker, and I'm not going to think worse of you, but I am going to argue with you about it. And what's important to me is that we're free to discuss what is real Star Wars or not. But one thing that is more of an objective truth is that certain fundamental things, more like ideas, are core belief ideas, are embedded in Lucas's Star Wars, and we're taught to Dave Filoni over a 10-year period in making a show, and obviously Favreau takes that seriously too. And I think what looks like a fun movie is actually going to set up a really sort of profound future for what Star Wars is.
Yeah, and because this is the it's the first movie back, blah blah blah. But when they did this last time, when they brought Star Wars back with Force Awakens, they made a very conscious effort to emulate A New Hope in structure and in a sort of very sort of rudimentary story line. And that was then the jumping off point for everything that followed. This is theoretically a relaunch of Star Wars in theaters. Yes, I know we've had live action Star Wars every year since Rise of Skywalker was in theater. Joel, you can stop writing that comment. But it's it is an important moment. It does feel like you're saying, Dan, it does feel like a bit of a transition. And just in hearing you guys talk about it, I wonder if they're doing with this movie what they did with Force Awakens and A New Hope, but with Empire Strikes Back. And you've pointed out that it seems like it could easily be a situation of following a similar story outline to use something that is familiarly Star Wars to everybody, to launch a new set of stories from it. That's what the intention was with Force Awakens, and largely they succeeded. We can debate some of the choices that were made after that for different movies and shows, but that was the intention, and it did seem to succeed for a bit. And now here we are. It looks like maybe for this second era of Disney Star Wars, they're going to use the second movie in the Holy Trinity, the Holy Trilogy, to model a new story upon that will launch us into the next generation of Star Wars, right down to the fact that I fully 100% expect that the AT-AT on the snow planet battle will be the opening action sequence for this movie. I don't know that for a fact. I have not been told that. I have never read that.
That's what I've been assuming all this time.
But I am 100% believe that we are going to, if we have a crawl, pan down from the crawl, see a ship over a snow planet, head onto the snow planet, and we'll see a bunch of AT-ATs walking along a cliff, and Din Djarin and Grogu will make their entrance at some point very soon after that into an epic action sequence that we've seen several.
And then Din will pull out a sword, and he will cut open a tauntaun, and he will stuff Grogu inside and say, "I thought these things smelled better on the outside." And our heads will explode.
I just had a thought that it might be. I could see them opening with something else, and that being more of a middle thing, but that's neither here or there. I think that I really feel like this movie is the start. Like the you're right. It feels like it feels like that. It feels like, okay, what did we do right with starting Star Wars again with The Force Awakens? And what maybe, Dave Filoni said, remember, if you guys remember when he was asked, hey, what do you think about The Force Awakens? Like right after it was released, some sort of panel. And he said, I like it when Star Wars does new stuff. So this is sort of like his chance to go, okay, let's reboot again, but let's do it with some new stuff. And so it's cool. Like, I could say that I'm an artist and musician. Like I actually do that with my life, work-wise. So I can say that one thing that I know profoundly is that every new thing you make is a chance to correct the mistakes of the old thing. You know, it's like that is such a motivator for any artist. It's like, oh, that was close, but there's something we could get a little, you know, I could see them being, you know, just relishing the chance to restart the franchise again and try to this will begin to set things right. Of course it never will, but it's like you just keep trying to. You just keep trying to. That's what keeps you going. And
I mean, Din and
like
Grogu,
I really think that shot is like this movie's going to be a bridge to something.
Din and Grogu might serve the role that old Han Solo and Chewie did in Force Awakens. Of like, here are the new characters who will be at the center of this, but it's about launching a new era as much as it is about celebrating what's come before.
Yeah, and I was actually leading up to saying something. I had what were you guys saying before that? No worries. There's just one little thing I needed to say. What got us on that tangent about? About the opening.
Oh yeah, about the opening. It could be the opening action sequence. Could be the action, and that again mirrors Empire, like right down to, hey, we're gonna start with the snow battle.
Okay, I remember what I was thinking. This feels like it's going to be the first time where, like, the show is the prequel and it's chronologically actually a prequel.
yeah, kind of. Yeah, it is.
Like, it would be cool if the show feels like the backstory to what's starting with this. Yeah. That'd be cool. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would be cool.
I think that's it. I think that's 100% it, because, you know, The Mandalorian is a wildly popular show, but and everybody knows who Grogu is, but I don't think you're going to start this movie assuming that modern audiences who, you know, Netflix tells their producers that you have to restate the plot 8 to 12 times per episode because people aren't paying attention because they're on their phones. I don't think they're going to assume that modern audiences remember what happened in season 3 super well the way you know, we might, because you know, it time away, while we might revisit it or talk about it a lot, for the general audience it becomes sort of like, oh right, I love this character, I love that Pedro Pascal in a helmet, and I love the baby Yoda, I love all that stuff. You know, that I think they are 100% starting with something fresh and original and new here that builds on the past, but where the past isn't 100% necessary to be on board with the at the very least sort of surface level adventure that's going on. This is, I do think, as we're talking about, maybe a little bit more about the future than about the past. Not that the past doesn't matter. We're not letting the past die. We're not gonna kill it if we have to, but we're gonna let it inform the present. But really, we're thinking more about the future here.
On that note, I just saw in the chat, Eaton, someone, hi Eaton, was saying, can we not talk about the sequels? I'm sorry, but man, I've been into Star Wars since I was, I think I got into it in 1980, and I remember in 1983 I went into a comic shop with my mom to get the newest issue of G.I. Joe or whatever it was that I liked, and I remember the guy behind the counter was talking with his friend. I remember it clear as day. I was like 7 or 8 years old. One guy was complaining about the Ewoks, and one guy was saying that Return of the Jedi finished the trilogy right. Like, I'm sorry, Eden, you got to learn to live with the frustration that all Star Wars fans will complain about something in Star Wars for the rest of your life and our lives, because it's not Star Wars unless we talk about what we like and what we don't. And listen, Ian, I'm not hating on the sequels. There's a lot I like about them, but it's just, you know, that's what we talk about.
And speaking of being a new beginning here, like, I think not only is this a new beginning for the Mandalorian and Grogu, the characters, which I think it absolutely is, because, like, I mean, let's face it, you know, I think Mandalorian season 3 was an ending. I think it might be the actual ending of the show. I think the future of the characters will probably be on the big screen. And like, I don't think this. I think there's a reason. Like, the Razor Crest is back, and like Din and Grogu are kind of back to where they started from. They're kind of a pair, and they're kind of right around the Razor Crest. Like, it's meant to be like a reboot. Like, I think even Brendan Wayne has talked at length about like kind of reset everything back to the way it was, kind of closer to season 1. So that's one thing. But then also, it's been 7 years since the Rise of Skywalker. There's kids that were born and have grown up and are now 7 years old and never had a Star Wars movie in the theater to go see, on their own. And so, like, they've had the TV shows, but not a film in the theaters. So for a lot of these kids, they're going to go for the Mandalorian and Grogu. They're going to see that this is going to be their first Star Wars movie in a theater, and they're going to remember it. And in 50 years, they're going to be on the internet or whatever version of the internet. They're going to be like, you know what? Star Wars, all those 12 movies that came out before the Mandalorian and Grogu, they just weren't the same. All right, Mando, Grogu, that was my stuff. That was the thing, and everything. All this other new garbage, that's just garbage.
Yeah, and here, let me say this about the sequels, right? Like, I don't want to talk about the sequels as if they were a disaster either. I think that's a critical misreading of the cultural moment that was The Force Awakens, let alone the subsequent movies. And in the years to come, we will see a return to those characters. We will see those characters come back, and we will see continuations of their stories in the same way that we're talking about Din Djarin and Grogu, in the same way that we saw continuations of Luke, Han, and Leia's stories in the sequels, the same way we saw a continuation of Anakin and Obi-Wan stories in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin's story in particular in Ahsoka. So like all of these things are going to come back, as we've said. Daisy Ridley is, she's back, whether it's in a new Jedi Order movie or not. I think not at this point. I think the movie that was announced at Celebration 2023 is dead, but she is back. She will be back. I think that they want her to be a part of this story, and that is going to continue everything in a way. And the people that were frustrated by the sequels will either find something they enjoy about it, or just have to get over it, the same way that people who are frustrated by the prequels have with the embrace of those movies and those characters and those actors in shows like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka. And I will say, we may talk a little bit about the hunt for Ben Solo later in the show. We'll see if we have time for it. But the response to that story and the fact that Disney killed that movie, even after everybody at Lucasfilm, from Kathleen Kennedy to Dave Filoni, was interested in making it, and had Adam Driver and Steve Soderbergh and everybody else work on it for many, many years, like not months, years, before it was canceled. The response to that story tells me there is a vast untapped interest and fan base for those movies. So when, not if, but when Rey, Finn, Poe, Rose, and yes, Ben Solo make their return to Star Wars on screen, be it on Disney Plus or in the theaters, you will see a lot of excitement in a way that the online BS, as he mentions, does not. That the online BS hides from you. The reality is people are more interested in those characters than you think, because if you go back to 2013, and when Ben and Din and I and Chris and everybody else were online going, we hope there's prequel references in episode 7, you would have had a bunch of people going, those movies made no cultural impact beyond how much they are hated. Jar Jar Binks is the worst character in cinematic history, blah 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 blah. And look where we're at now, where Hayden Christensen has a recurring role in Ahsoka and will continue to be in Star Wars over and over again. Ewan McGregor is game to come back whenever they want, and it's only a matter of time before they get Natalie Portman back in there too. And Ahmed Best has come back, Liam Neeson has come back, everybody's coming back. Tim Morrison's back. Like, everybody's there.
Yeah. on the subject of the sequels, not to get too far into this because we do have a trailer to talk about, but like just it is eternally fascinating to see not just online, but just like people talking in the wild, people in the media talking about the sequel trilogy and talking as Eden pointed out, just like talking about as if those movies were a disaster, calling them a failure. And like you don't have to like the sequel trilogy, but you cannot argue on any circumstance that they were a failure. You cannot argue against the fact that they made over $4 billion collectively. They were hugely successful, and it is night and day comparing the online reaction that has happened versus like the actual reality of like those movies were very successful. They resonated with audiences. They resonated with kids in particular. Go to a celebration, go to a con and see how many Rey cosplayers are out there. How many people are at Disneyland getting their picture with Rey. Like people love those characters. And then also seeing that Disney recognized that, with Hunt for Ben Solo aside, like they're putting it all in on Daisy Ridley and Rey Skywalker, doing more with that character. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni also have done their part in supporting the sequel trilogy. How many sequel references are in the Mandalorian and Mandoverse? Like there's so many things that are like, here's the pieces, here's what we're leading up to. It's still going towards the Resistance versus the First Order and Exegol and all that stuff. It's gonna happen. You're just, all this is one big story. Filoni is big about that. That's why I like him being where he is now.
The Babu Fricks are in this movie.
Exactly. That too. Like there's sequel trilogy references in this teaser. Like it is truly all connected.
In my opinion, it's like, okay, I can put up with the Rise of Skywalker because it gave us those little guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry.
And that is where I land on just like pop culture in general, of just like people are so dismissive. People are online right now dismissing this movie before it's even out yet. They're like, man, this is gonna be sick. I'm just like, y'all can't even wait until the movie's out. You've seen the movie to start, trashing it. But like ultimately, it is just like people are just so dismissive and just like, okay, I'm gonna look for that one thing that I can prove this movie is trash and I can just trash it. And my opinion is like, I don't think any piece of content, piece of art is below like a second look, there's some redeeming qualities here. Look at the holiday special. Look at the how bad it is, but yet it's brought so many people so much joy and brought so many good things to Star Wars, and like from Stir Whip to Lumpy and all these things, like all this gets like it's genuinely like, and it brought us Boba Fett, and like we wouldn't have that character without the holiday special, and just like I think like you're gonna dismiss that, but that you can't like
I love
Ben with the hot take. The holiday. You should have seen Dom's face when you were saying.
Oh, my favorite thing is Ben's
like, he was like, where is it going? He's gonna try to convince people that the holiday special is merit. Your face was hilarious.
Somehow
you did, Ben. Somehow you did.
I like how Ben's like, here, let me list the 3 most impactful and best parts of the holiday special. And it's like number 3, Boba Fett. Number 2, Lumpy. Number 1, Stir Whip.
I don't even know who Stir Whip.
That's in my mind. That's how my mind works.
I can't say I agree with you, Ben, but that was good entertainment.
I'm not saying the holiday special is good, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying it has redeeming qualities. Just like every single thing that has ever existed. People, The Room is like a weird movie, but people love it. They watch it over and over again. Like, come on, guys.
That's a great outlook for life, I think, in general. You're giving us a good philosophy for life. Like, find the redeeming qualities in everything.
See, Dan understands me. Dan, should be here all the time to translate for me, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. No, I mean, that's actually a good personal reminder for me. We got a trailer to talk about. It's just that, I just think all fantasy trilogies, as established by Lord of the Rings, is judged by like, what's the ending that it gave you? Did it give you, was the final thing always defines it for me. And so that's just I gotta frame this in a way that what I'm looking forward to now with what Star Wars is doing and establishing the lead up to not only the sequels in terms of story wise, because even in this trailer we see it's more of establishing the return of the Empire and all that. I think the trick now will be to go, where are we going past the sequel trilogy? Like, where is this? What are we gonna say? You know, what are we gonna give people in the end? Where this is all going, and that's to me always the most intriguing thing about any fantasy a tale is, you know, whether it's the Matrix or the one thing you cannot say about the prequel, like by and large, time has pretty objectively proven that George Lucas ended both of his trilogies well. Generally, they both ended well, but like not so much with like the Matrix trilogy. Both Return of Lord of the Rings on book and on screen. You know, time has shown that pretty objectively we can all agree that those things ended pretty much great. You know, so it's just really interesting to think about where this all might be going, and that's what I'm excited about. Instead of just, that's my personal feeling, that I just wanted something different from a final statement to the end of the saga, maybe. So I'm looking forward to, just in a personal way, what that might be. Hopefully I'll be alive to see it, because if they do this right, you know, we'll all be talking about, you know, what Grogu's going through as a teenager in 15 years. Oh, I also had to add that this is a hot take, not to be a hot take, but I earnestly feel, listening to this conversation, that time is part of the experience of Star Wars and waiting. It's part of the equation. I'm going to agree with Bob Iger on this one. I don't think his reason for not doing the hunt for Ben Solo, about not seeing how he would be alive, I do think it wasn't the right time to release it. Star Wars, like, I can see that. Young kids to understand what it's like to wait 10 years to see your favorite characters again, or 20, because it's so worth it when you do, even if you're disappointed. There's nothing like waiting for Star Wars and imagining. I think it's the right call. I think let those kids imagine what happened to their favorite characters for a good long time, and let them talk about it and start to come up with their own stories about what they might do, instead of giving it to them now, like where it might not catch because not enough people want it yet. I think it'd be better to wait in the end. Okay. It sucks. Sounds like a great movie idea, but I think it'll be better for the fans of those characters if they wait.
Yeah, I mean, something that I do find fascinating is how the timeline for nostalgia has shortened. Like it used to be that you had, it was like, oh, I'm so nostalgic for this thing that was 15, 20, 25 years ago. And now it's like, oh, I'm so nostalgic for this thing that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Like, it kills me when people say, and they've been saying this, you know, we're starting to reach a point where you can kind of say it, but they've been saying it for 3-4 years now. Oh, I'm so nostalgic for Avengers Endgame. I'm like, that is so recent. That is so recent. And
it just came out.
Yeah, and like I'm not making a point of like, time is moving too fast. I'm like, no, that is genuinely still recent. That's less than a decade. And when it was, 2024 and people were saying it, I'm like, that was 5 years ago. That's too recent to be nostalgic for. But excuse me. It is a function of the way the media landscape has changed, the way culture has changed, and the speed at which new stuff comes out. Because there is so much new stuff that comes out that in the time between Endgame and now, the equivalent amount of content through television, movies, online stuff that isn't traditional TV, music, movies, podcasts, all that, so much has come out. More has come out in that time than would have come out in, or it's equivalent to the amount of stuff that would have come out in the time longer periods between waits, and so people feel nostalgic because they feel like they've because they have consumed so much more, so it feels like it was longer ago because you've seen so many other things in the interim. So yeah, that's all I'm saying is that the window for nostalgia has shifted, and I find that interesting as someone who finds the over reliance on nostalgia in not just Star Wars but in our culture at large very frustrating.
Yeah.
But I think I feel relief. You know, I've been so happy that I've had to wait for, you know, that a show didn't end and that there was one in 3 months. Like I'm still growing. You know, what was the last show that Star Wars show?
I guess Andor must have been Andor.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, we're still just sort of talking about what that, you know, that it was timing wise, it was great that it worked out that nothing followed Andor because that wasn't planned, because no one could have known that that would also become kind of like a little mini cultural phenomenon in North America, especially, that's tied to the protest movement. That's insane.
Yeah,
that is insanely awesome that people are at protests and that they're using AI to make their Phoenix Rebel logos for their state. I feel like a little bit like, oh, I think I was kind of like a part of that, and probably one of the first. Like, I mean, I was using it for the Canadian Rebel Alliance logo for Resistance Fest and hoping that this would become.
If people are listening, they can see that behind you.
Yeah, like that like I was like, no, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna do what this show is talking about. I'm gonna get active as an activist in the real world. And the fact that like no Star Wars show came out right after that is it let Andor breathe culturally and let it do its thing and work in the conscious mass consciousness of people. And I think consumerism was killing Star Wars. I think it got out, like balance is a key idea in Star Wars. It was out of balance. Like I felt like, come on, I'm not just the soul of my Star Wars fandom doesn't exist to just keep chewing on everything you throw at me every 2 weeks, like a new show. Like there's a lot of great stuff, but it was too much, too fast, and it was relentless. And I started to feel like, I'm not using this word hyperbolically, I started to feel oppressed by the consumeristic onslaught of, because it's Star Wars and everything. Like, slow down, please. Let me breathe and think about things. Because what is the point of all this content that's mythology, that's supposed to enter people's consciousness and define the values and be the glue of the cult, if you don't have time to think about it, man? And so, like, I'm gonna sound like an old man here, but like, I'm sorry, kids, you gotta learn to wait. And no, you seriously do, because I'm serious. You have to learn how to wait for stuff, because you have to give yourself time to think. I can't wait to go see Mandalorian and Grogu, but I'm dreading it because the theater experience is horrible and it's just getting worse every time. And I'm not just like, it is literally horrible. I was seeing Zootopia too. And like for the first 10 minutes, there's this big, loud, action-orientated, thing. So it's loud, but there's some like noise. And then once that opening sequence ended, like 10 minutes later, I'm like, what kind of effed up soundtrack is in this movie? And then I realized, what the hell? Someone's listening to their phone at full blast. And like 4 rows up from me are 2 kids. One kid has their big, like one of those big phones, like almost like iPad size, watching another movie at full volume. And I went up to the kid. I'm like, okay, you got to please turn that off. You're in a movie theater.
Have you ever heard of earbuds?
No, but like, that's not even going to work because there's no thought process going on in the person that you should be in the moment. So all this consumerism was killing me, and I think it's like it's anti-life. It's anti, like, you have to learn how to be in a moment. You can't be in a movie theater and not be there because you're watching something else. It wasn't kids with overactive parents saying pacify them. These were like two like young teenagers who decided to go to a movie. And the kid looks up and goes to me, "You're a bully." I'm like, "Okay, everyone get out your phones, cancel me. I'm Din from F105. I'm a bully for asking someone to not watch another movie at full volume in the theater." So there's my soliloquy on how consumerism is killing us. Because you're not alive. If you can't be in the moment, you're not. I don't know. Yeah. Wait for the hunt for Ben Solo and learn to deal with it.
This is why I hate reaction videos. But anyways, that's a separate.
Me too. It's all that stuff is teaching people. Like, just get something now. Some hit, dopamine rush, and no one can actually just sit down and go, what is it all? Here I am. Let's think about it for a bit. I don't know. Yeah, I do know. That's what I know.
All right. Anything else? Anything else we want to touch on with the trailer?
The trailer.
Here's the thing. About? But here's the thing, Ben. Here's how we know the trailer is good. Is because it spurred us to talk about other things. Like of this whole conversation spun out of the trailer. That's the fact that we got to where we got is a function of the fact that this trailer has activated part of our brain that wants to engage with stuff, wants to talk about things. A bad trailer is one where we just go, well, the stormtroopers were there and that was cool, and like that's all there is to it. Then we're done in 15 minutes because we've just recapped the trailer. But this trailer has activated a larger conversation about Star Wars and beyond. But is there anything else? Is there anything anything?
What about like a rapid fire thing of things?
Yeah.
Trailer.
Yeah, rapid fire.
I'll give like one sentence comment.
Let's
on
hear
any
it.
Topic from the trailer, if you guys bring them up.
Okay. All right. We touched on Embo, but we only sort of mentioned these in it. Embo, one sentence.
Great to see an iconic George Lucas collaborating with Filoni to make an iconic character in live action. There's so much. It's like you save. Sorry, more than one sentence. There's so much money to be saved by just mining all that stuff from that show and putting it on live screen and giving the audience fresh images. Okay.
Yeah, Ben.
My one sentence is Joel pointed out to me that Embo is outside of Din and Grogu's house on Navarro, and now I'm terrified.
Oh no. Okay. All right. The Imperial Council that we see in this, where the guy says, "Long live the Empire." The Imperial Remnant. One sentence.
Well, if they could pull off a long game of establishing relevance that resonates with our culture about what it means for an fascist empire to try to return, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
My one sentence is I hope that this movie is about Din and Grogu being on the offensive in regards to the Empire versus defensive. I hope that they're hunting them down and not being hunted.
My one sentence is that we will get a cameo from Thrawn. That is my prediction. Garazeb.
I don't disagree.
Garazeb Aurelios. One sentence about Zeb being in this movie.
Again, same as Embo. You've got gold there from animated characters that just are going to pop in live action. They have real character, real presence.
He looks so good, and especially looks good in a jacket.
He does.
He does.
My one sentence will be Matthew Hardy's comment from the chat. I still think the Razor Crest is Zeb's, and Din is borrowing it to collect bounties.
I love that. Because I am also I'm a little on the train of just like, remember berries? You remember this? And bringing back things. I'm just like, come on, guys. You couldn't come up with any other ship. You had to get the Razor Crest. I hope it's just like a one-time thing, which is like, Din wanted the nostalgia of having a Razor Crest, and Zeb happens to have one. He's a pilot. He's apparently training pilots. So like he just has one on hand. He's just like, let me borrow that for a second, and then he has to give it back at the end of the movie. Or maybe it blows up again.
It just blows up again. I like that. I like that a lot. I want to see Zeb. Give me a full moment of just Rebels nostalgia and have Zeb smash two stormtroopers' helmets together and have them knock each other out. I'd like to see that in live action. I think that'll be fun.
Actually, I was thinking about this. The other day. I think when it comes to cameos, I think my top 3 are number 1 is Thrawn. I think is number 1 choice. I think, and number 1 as in regards to like the chances of him showing up. Number 2 is Boba Fett. I think number 3, I think Ezra. I think we could get an Ezra Zeb return, Ezra Zeb hug in this one.
I'm sitting here to stick by my resolution to not talk too much, but that's what I didn't say that I wanted to say is like, I want to see Zeb giving Ezra a hard time and that sort of relationship to continue live action, like that charm and kind of fun.
I 100% think we will see that in Ahsoka season 2. I don't think I think Ezra and Hera are like dark horse chances for cameos, but I would be very surprised. I think Thrawn feels like a very, very real possibility. And honestly, given the amount of Book of Boba tangentially related stuff that's in this movie, I kind of think that Boba Fett's going to be in this. And there is a shot of some stormtroopers flying in a craft of some kind on a desert planet. And I can't help but wonder if that's Tatooine. And, the twins wanted Tatooine back in the Book of Boba Fett. Rada presumably grew up on Tatooine. I don't know. Maybe we wind up back there. And Boba's
I could see them doing Jon Favreau doing his move like the end of the first the first, his Iron Man, which is like we're putting the band back together.
Yeah,
I could totally see that being a final scene.
And if this movie is gonna really riff on Empire Strikes Back, come on, just put Boba Fett in there.
Yeah,
put Boba Fett in there. Sigourney Weaver as Colonel Ward. We actually hear her speak in this trailer. She's got a deck of cards of bad guys for them to track down. Thoughts on her?
Apparently that those cards are from some like book or something that's already pre-established in canon. Like that's not new for this movie. That's something that was already in canon that they picked up on, which is pretty
nice. Cool. That's fun. Love that.
Yeah, a female social justice warrior, and I say that I say that lovingly, I remember when I actually do, as someone who got into activism around the year 2000. I remember when we internally used SJW as like it was like a good acronym. We're social justice warriors, and now but in all seriousness, it was she was utilized as a personification for the idea of something that is also very Lucasian and very Filoni, that goes back to Rebels. It goes all the way back to Return of the Jedi. It's not about revenge.
Absolutely,
it's about stopping a war to create, and to create something better. So through her, an idea was presented in that trailer, which is cool. That's what I mean about there being so many layers that are already noticeable just from the trailer.
Yeah. My one thought is that, I totally agree about the, presenting that idea. But my favorite scene with her is still the one from the Celebration trailer that has not made its way into anything else. So we will wait to see if that gets officially shown at some point between now and May 22nd. Final thing that I will drop as a quick rapid fire topic, even though there's plenty more I'm sure we could touch on. Grogu steals the pram that Rodian baby was in. Apparently all carriages in Star Wars have the ability to go at supersonic speeds. That actually, it's so silly, it's so ridiculous, but I kind of love it. And those last couple of shots of Din with the jetpack and Grogu in the flying baby carriage, speeding along together on an adventure. Come on, that looks like fun.
That's really good. That's really good.
All right. Let's we will leave it there. There is more to discuss, I'm sure, in the weeks and months leading up to The Mandalorian and Grogu hitting theaters on May 22nd. There's also a poster out. Poster looks kind of cool. It's kind of predictable, but it still looks good.
Yeah.
Still looks good. Din, you are here in part, not just to talk about the trailer, but because you've got a new live album out. Tell us a little bit about the live album.
That was a show that we did in a park that was actually right after I came back from Celebration doing your IHOP party.
Oh, nice.
What year was that?
Wow.
2022. Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
So there was this concert series that was started in this big park, actually closer to where you live now, Dom. I don't know if you know about it, but a group of music fans started this concert series during COVID where they could put on concerts and everyone could be social distance because the park is so massive, and they could go and enjoy weekly concerts. And that sort of carried through. It was called Incubation Project, incubation with a K, and so you can add that. It carried through until now. It's still going with even shows and clubs and stuff like that. And we played that F-105, an acoustic show with a percussionist and Isaac, who's a F-105 mainstay on bass, and we played 13 songs. And I guess coming back from a little mini tour of a few shows in California, I guess I was all warmed up. So when I came across it in my as I've been sort of reorganizing and re-releasing albums with deluxe editions. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've re-released all but one Souls album as deluxe albums with I'm a meticulous documentarian, so I keep all shows and recordings and everything pretty well organized, with the knowledge that one day I'm going to want to release these. So I've literally had tracks from the first Souls album that was done in 2004, just sitting and waiting to be released, the Souls LP. So that started it a couple years ago, and then in that process I came across this show that was recorded. And I totally forgot about it, and it's really, really good. Like for an acoustic show that has just a percussionist and a bassist, it really rocked. And it was really well. It was professionally recorded by the people who ran it, and I was just shocked. Like I could be really critical of live performances if they're not, it's hard to play live sometimes because there's so many factors. You may have a cold and you could be playing great, but you have a cold and your voice is just not doing the right thing. But at this show, every little thing was just doing the right thing. The way the instruments were recorded, my voice was hitting every note in every song, right? All 13. And it's like the whole sort of F-105 catalog is represented with songs that hadn't come out yet too, like Toys and Love is the Force of Life. And also a few Souls classics, and those were like Over the Wall and Sand in the Sun, so the former projects. So I just realized, man, I got more work to do because this is really good. It has to go out, and kind of for free. They just professionally recorded it and gave me the recording. I'm like, that's a godsend. I got to put that out.
Wow.
And I wanted the right album to start off my music label and publishing company, which is called Myth Punk Music. So you can find that on Instagram at Myth Punk Music. And because I realized that what I've always been doing is sort of mixing a punk sound and ethos with the mythological stuff that I've been doing. I realized, well, no one's really actually done that this way, and the name came to me, Myth Punk Music, to define what my genre is and what I want to put out in the world, like why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then had a collection of favorite live tracks from over the years that were also acoustic, and I picked 6 of them that I thought fit thematically with the album as 6 bonus tracks, and thank you for letting me debut this.
Yeah.
On your show.
So we're gonna feature a little clip here. It wouldn't be a F-105 launch without a little bit of music. And you mentioned this is off the album, which is called Live and Acoustic at Bob Acton Park in Toronto. But it's not actually from Bob Acton Park. It's
the 6 bonus tracks.
It's one of the bonus tracks, and every other track I think on here is either an F-105 song or it's a Souls song. So it's an original.
Well, no, there's the Doors. There's
okay.
So the tracks I chose are all because they have a special moment for me. So that's what being live is about. It's about what's the moment that could happen that you can't predict. So Dom's about to play one. But some of the other one, I'll just say one. So get back to my rapid fire attempts. In LA on my 2004 tour up the West Coast that Dom was actually joined me in San Francisco and LA. I play my first show. Remember when my first show after I got kicked off the flight and got to just in time with a broken guitar from the flight that they kicked me off of, and I watched my guitar go on the plane. And then when I got to LA, it found my guitar. It had a crack in it.
Oh my God.
Then I got to this show and I played a version of Rebel Girl where I went into a version of Break On Through to the Other Side because I was in LA.
There you go.
And so actually, you'll hear me quote Joseph Campbell on that. A quote about Doors. So I had to do a Doors song and tie it into Rebel Girl. Also because the Tragically Hip, the most famous Canadian band up here, had released one of their favorite live albums, which was an infamous show that they did at the Roxy in LA in 1990. Mm-hmm. And I didn't hear this until a couple years ago when they released it, but Gord Downey quoted Joseph Campbell with a Doors quote. And I thought, he's doing that because he loves the Doors. And it's one of his famous biggest influences with Jim Morrison. So that's why I chose each one of those songs is chosen for a moment like that.
So, yes, great, love it. So, but typically, like I said, when you're on the show, we'll feature something that's original to F5, maybe something from the Souls. You just mentioned other covers of the Doors, talked about the Hip.
And everyone in LA sang along too. So that was like, okay, I'm in LA channeling Jim Morrison, and people are singing with me. It's like, that's how, for me, that's how to experience LA,
So we're gonna do a clip here. This is from the album. This is a cover, and having talked about all of that, naturally, when it comes to Din performing a song and doing a cover version and inserting some Star Wars into it, it can really only be a song like this one. Take a listen.
Sometimes I feel like everybody's stuck in apathy, and I'm all gone dark on the hill. Too big to hang out, slowly lurching towards your favorite planet. Pierced through the heart, but never killed. Did you hear my covert narcissism? I disguised with altruism. I'm some kind of congressman. Galactic Senate. I wake up screaming from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving, and life will lose all its meaning. It's me, high on the mountain. It's me, at tea time. Everybody agrees. I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. Must be exhausting, always rooting for the anti-hero.
That scared the shit out of me, man.
I have this dream, my daughter in law grandma kills me for the credits. She thinks I left them in the will. The family gathers round and reads it, and then someone screams out, she's laughing up at us from Mustafar.
That was Antihero Taylor Sith edition. Live from Toronto Comic Con 2024 or 5, I can't remember. One of them. And if you're watching live, yes, that was Matthew from Ion Cannon on the screen, along with Ash, who is I'd say semi-regular guest on Ion Cannon. And there we go. We got Din singing some Taylor Swift on the new record. Because
amazing.
Why not?
I also have to just give a public mea culpa. My if I ever made criticisms that were Taylor Swift related, it's because of pop, the industry. But when Matt, the industry of pop music, I have pretty good reasons to not like it. But as an artist, as a songwriter, as an artist, when Matt sent me like an acoustic, I'm so thankful he did an acoustic version of Antihero. I just realized, my God, what a powerful songwriter she is. I genuinely love that song. It's awesome songwriting. And it's so fun to sing. It's become actually one of my favorite songs. And I have to say, I know I'm a hypocrite because I always said I don't do Star Wars parody, but I improvised those lyrics when I realized there were Star Wars fans in the Taylor Swift panel, and it became a parody, and I like it. So I'm a hypocrite, and it
killed. It clearly killed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Matt mentions in the chat that you can actually find the whole whole Taylor Swift panel from Toronto Comic Con on the CultureSlate YouTube channel. So go check that out, including the full Din performance of Antihero. Cool. We got a question from the live chat from @JacobStanko8922, who says, I am very worried that Embo the Bounty Hunter, because I hope they don't. I'm very worried for Embo the Bounty Hunter because I hope they don't kill him off like they did with Cad Bane. I'll be very disappointed, but I hope that's not the case.
First of all, Cad Bane's not dead. Because the blinking light, okay? There's something there, okay?
Cad What's Bane's the blinking light? This is something I didn't notice, Ben. Can you explain?
There's a whole lot of theories because they zoom in on Cad Bane's body as he's lying on the ground dead, and there's a blinking light on his chest, and everyone's like, what's that mean? What does it mean? Oh. And I'm also asking, like, okay, Filoni Favreau, what are you doing? What are you doing with this? Because, like, freaking Fennec Shand died and she was brought back. Boba Fett died. Like, there is precedent here. So that's one thing.
Here's where I'll channel Bob Iger and say, I don't understand how this dead character can come back.
Sorry, I mean, I agree. I agree with this comment from the chat and Ben. Yeah, I mean, Cad Bane was just made for the cinema. Cinema is art, Scorsese. I mean, Star Wars is cinema. Yeah, that's what I'm Scorsese famously said this stuff isn't cinema. So it's great to see him in a Star Wars now, sort of resolving that for us because it is cinema. Yeah, but
one feather in
John Ford movies, like he's made to be on screen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Done. Sorry, no, you're fine. You're good. I was just gonna say one feather in Embo's hat is that the fact that he is literally Dave Filoni, like he literally is voiced by Dave Filoni. Also, he was supposed to die in his first episode in Clone Wars. Like he was supposed to die in Bounty Hunters, and they were just like, "This guy is too cool. Let's film. Let's do another scene where he survives, and then the rest is history." So, like, I would hope Filoni and Favreau would not repeat that mistake again.
Let's hope. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but they so badly dropped the ball with Cad Bane in the Book of Boba Fett. Like he looked cool, but there's everything else about it was it's one of the
weird.
things that
it's weird.
There's a lot I like about that show, but that's something that like baffles me, that they're like, hey, let's base the climax of this show not around something that is built up in this show, but something that is built up in unmade episodes of a previous show. Like boggles my mind that made it to screen. So but I don't think the same thing will happen with Embo, because there, as far as we're aware, maybe there are unmade episodes of Rebels or something where he has a deep-seated feud with Zeb. But I don't, there isn't like a history there. Embo can be a new character to people who don't know the Clone Wars, and he can be an exciting returning character to people who do know the Clone Wars.
And also,
so I suspect he'll make it through this movie in some insane and awesome way.
And also, I know he's very menacing in the trailer, but like we have to remember, like he was a hero when he was first introduced, and like he kind of goes back and forth. He's one of those hunters that can kind of like, Cad Bane, almost always a bad guy, but like Embo is more like Hondo coded. Like you never really know which side he's going to be on.
True. All right, I think that's where we'll leave things. I think we've covered a lot of interesting and fun ground, but this feels like the right place to begin to wrap things up for this week. Thank you everybody for listening. We will be back in about 7 days time to talk about more Star Wars. Who knows what will have happened in the time in between. There were a couple of stories we didn't get to this week, and so we'll surely have time for them next week. And I'm sure there'll be a whole bunch more stuff that comes out between now and then. So do tune in. We are live Thursday nights at just about 9 o'clock Eastern time on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, Twitter account, Twitch that we have apparently. We're live all those places and presumably more. So you can tune in and listen live. Or you can listen after the fact on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, wherever you get your shows. Din, thank you for being on. Thank you for sharing your insight into the trailer and Star Wars as a whole, and for sharing your music with the anti-hero clip and the walkthrough the new live album. If people want to hear more of the music and hear more from you, what are the ways they can do that?
Well, right now it would be great. If you could go check out the video on YouTube. It's just at F105. And at the handles, whatever social network you're on, at F105 Music, the daily posts are going to be links to, all the listen links to wherever you get your music to check out the album. For the Star Wars audience, there's cool acoustic versions of Rebel Girl and multiple versions of, singing Desert Planet in Ireland at a bar that I showed up to on a double header night that was a full room that didn't have a PA. And I sang Desert Planet, and people sang along to, my song. Let me tell you, you've pulled off something, and humility, I say this, but you've pulled off something. If you could go to Dublin and sing for an audience with no PA, and they sing along to your original song that they haven't heard before, that's also a Star Warsy song. That's pretty cool. At F105 Music, and just thank you for giving me the chance to talk about this trailer, which I love. That was great timing that it just worked out that way. And in humility, thank you for playing that song. And yes, I was wrong about so many things, including Star Wars parody and any criticisms I may have had about anyone. Yeah, I eat my words. That's a great song.
All right. So check out at F105 Music for more from Din. Ben, thank you as always for hosting. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to remind people about before we go?
No. Well, actually, I will say this. I always think of things. My brain is just a weird place. I will say that our good friend Zach Arnold had a scoop about a filming location that he visited in his home state in Texas for the Mandalorian and Grogu, and it was confirmed in this trailer. I'm not going to give it away. What I'm going to direct you to is go listen to the latest episode of IPC, where we talk all about it. And we're probably going to do a new episode pretty soon, breaking down the trailer, and we'll actually talk about like what he saw, and like he talks to people. Like we've never done scoops before on that show. We had a scoop, and it was pretty cool. So legitimately, like there's some interesting stuff there. So yeah, go check that out. And also I know it hasn't been a big topic of conversation. It's a local thing here, but happy Mardi Gras, everybody! Happy Mardi Gras to all you guys around the world, except you, Shia LaBeouf. Except you. You know what you did.
All right. Indiana Jones's son is catching strays on the end of the show here.
Just Google Shia LaBeouf. You'll see all about it.
All right. Yeah, check out the Intergalactic Peace Coalition podcast, aka the IPC show. Search that up wherever you get your shows and find out where they shot The Mandalorian. Hear about Zach's set report. That sounds pretty exciting. For me, I will remind everybody to check out my Substack. It's called Hoth Off the Press. You can find it by going to dominicgjones.substack.com. Continuing to have weekly Star Wars posts, and for the last 5 weeks and for this week coming up, you can also find my reviews of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So if you're enjoying the latest Game of Thrones spinoff and wanted to talk more about it, wanted to read my thoughts on it, you can find those again, Hoth Off the Press, aka dominicgjones.substack.com. All right, that's it. We will be back in 7 days. Punch the subscribe button to know when that happens. Subscribe and leave reviews wherever you can. Join the Discord to keep the conversation going. Follow us on social media to never miss what's going on in Star Wars and beyond. But that is it for Ben, for Din, for Chris and Hannah, who weren't here. My name is Dominic, and may the Force be with you. Where is now? It's been so long since I've had to do this. I've lost the title card. There it is. All right, we're out of here. It's a wrap.